You're watching the Politicit podcast.
Good evening. Welcome to Politicit podcast. We've got Susan Lee with us today. Susan, nice to have you. Getting down to the wire.
It is, and thank you for having me on. I appreciate it. It's been, 4 months since I was on?
Yeah.
And that was pre-convention. At the time, there were several in the race, and now convention's done. I was the endorsed candidate by the party. I won at convention. And
you won by a wide enough margin to make you the endorsed candidate.
That's right. Right. So I do have an opponent that collected signatures that is also on the ballot. And
she happens to be the incumbent.
She does. And so I look forward to the race, and I'm excited to see the outcome June 23rd.
June 23rd. Coming up, isn't it?
It is fast approaching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me, what's been going on with it?
Well, lots of town halls, meeting the candidates, outreach to get my message out, trying to educate what county commissioners even do. A lot of people don't even know what we do. And it's been a very good process, and I've enjoyed being a part of it.
That's good.
Yeah.
So what are the major issues?
Well, what got me fired up is when I received the notice in the mail that the county was going to do a vote for a 30% tax increase. 30%? 30%. Now, my background is accounting, and my husband and I, we had a trucking business that we ran trucks throughout the 13 western United States. And so I know bookkeeping, payroll, I know all of the ins and outs of what accounting is all about. And so when you see a 30% tax increase, that's a red flag.
Right.
And so I thought, well, I need to find out what's going on. Had no ambition, not even thinking about running. And so I started going to all of the town halls they were holding to try and educate people why they needed the 30% tax increase. And then I went to the Truth in Taxation hearing. And that was what was a heartbreaker for me, to sit and see. And what I mean by that is the fastest segment of the population of Davis County right now is 60 years and older. That is the fastest growing segment. That is people going into retirement, fixed incomes, and the majority of the people that turned out were in that category. And many of them had their mortgage bill, and they had their tax bill, and they were telling the commissioners, I will lose my home. I cannot keep paying for this increase in all these taxes. It's just this burden that is really hurting many of the people in that segment of the population. And what really hit close to home for me is my parents are both 90. They just turned 90 in February. They're less than 17 days apart in age.
Wow.
Yes. So their main form of entertainment, and I'm not saying they're lazy, but they're old, is TV.
Right.
And my dad told me at the beginning of the year, he said, we're going to disconnect Dish Network. It's just too expensive. And it really shook me because I thought, they really enjoyed that. That is something they enjoy doing. And I said, well, I'll pay for it. You don't need to disconnect it. And my dad, no way. You're not going to, we'll make it work. We're going to make it work. But what really hit me about that is they're willing to look at their own budget and live within their means. My dad, he was a school teacher. My mom was a homemaker. And for 30 years, they worked to pay off their mortgage so when he retired, they could live comfortably.
Right.
And if you look at their property tax bill, it's 3 times more than what their mortgage payment was. 3 times more that they're having to come up with and pay for. And so they're making the tough choices, the cuts, to keep their home and to be able to live within their means. Why can't county government do that? That was the burning question I had. So then I started meeting with the controller, and I started talking to him about what is going on here? Why are we needing this 30% tax increase? And he told me, well, there's a $12 million deficit. And I says, well, what's the budget? And he says, well, it's $90 million from property taxes, and then it's up to $300 million total through federal taxes, state taxes, sales taxes, fees, everything in between makes up that other amount. And $300 million budget, and they still went $12 million over. It wasn't enough. And to me, I'm thinking,
something's wrong there.
Yes. And so started digging even further into the budget and looking at everything. And I soon found out that through the CARES Act from the Biden administration and the COVID money, both of them were one-time amounts of money that the county received. Most counties took that money and they used it for one-time spending.
Right.
But our county took that money and they used it, and it created ongoing costs.
Right.
And so those ongoing costs were what drove up that $12 million deficit that they had to take care of. Now, when they saw all these people, they voted to only increase half the amount.
Right.
They needed the full amount. They were $12 million in debt, so they only covered half the debt with what they needed. So then they went back to all the departments and they said, what can we do? You guys, we are $6 million over budget. So you guys need to look at your budgets and cut. So they came back, all the budgets that they tried to cut, $2 million is all they could get off. And so then they said, well, they started looking at all these other things and said, let's offer early retirement buyouts. And they figure if they get enough of those, they can save another $2 million. They're still $2 million short.
Right.
They're trying to get that covered through additional revenues that they didn't count on, but they won't know till the end of the year. And if they don't have enough, they'll have to go to the reserves to cover, and then it's going to kick the can down the road to the next commissioners to take care of that deficit. So my question is, okay, they're obviously able to cut. Why didn't they do that cut before they came to the taxpayer and asked them to foot the bill?
Right.
So, because that's a common question I get from people. Well, where would you cut? Well, they proved they can cut.
Right.
What they did after they only took half the amount. It's possible. It's and yes, it's never easy.
It's hard.
It is hard. It is.
Right.
You know, they're required to offer certain services within the county. They have to keep that service up to take care of the populace. That's why we're there. But with that being said, are we doing it in the best possible manner? Are we taking care of the people's purse the way we ought to? Or are to me, the more that you want to raise and increase taxes, I get it. There's inflation costs.
Right.
The cost of inflation, that's automatic. But if you do it right, it should be small incremental increases to keep in line with inflation if you need to. Sometimes you do get extra monies through growth and through things like that. But if it is required, you shouldn't wait until it's so out of control that you have to do such a large increase.
Right. Well, hey, we're going to take a break and then we'll come right back.
Yes.
Thank you.
Good.
Tired of media bias? Frustrated by political noise? Politicit.com cuts through the clutter, giving you real facts, clear analysis, and unbiased insight on the issues that matter most. Stay informed, stay empowered. Whether it's elections, policy changes, or breaking news, we've got you covered. No spin, no agendas, just truth you can trust. Visit Politicit.com today, because informed citizens shape the future. Politicit.com, where politics meets clarity.
Welcome back to Politicit. We've got Susan Lee with us. Susan, candidate for county commission. So nice to have you. We've been talking about these ongoing expenses that were generated and taxes, and so tell me, I want to better understand your campaign. What do you talk to people about when you go out?
Well, yeah, a big question is, where's all the money going? What are they spending it on? Why are we needing to increase our taxes on the backs of us by such a big amount? And so I'll talk to them about certain things that are happening at the moment. One of those things is a new animal care facility that they're going to be building. It's going to be almost 3 times larger than the current one. And the reason why is because it is no longer a kill facility. It is a no-kill facility. So if you don't adopt out the animals, then we have to take care of them. And we have to hire more people to, exercise them, to clean out the kennels, the additional foods that we have to buy, the ongoing costs. On top of that, they want to hire a full-time veterinarian to take care of all these animals now. So it's a huge increase in costs for the taxpayers of Davis County to do this. Now, this is something that private charities used to do. And why we want to take away that responsibility from them, which they're far better than government at doing it,
Right.
is I don't get it. I don't get it why we want to do that, but it's something that I would like to see turned back to them and let them do what they do best. And
Turn back to the private
yes,
organizations.
Yes, that is exactly right. And
So the movement to a no-kill facility, what was that about?
well, I heard all sorts of reasons. I don't know how true they are, and they said requirements were changed and it became more difficult to still be in that facility, offer those
Right.
services. So they decided it would just be easier to change. But, I need to look into it and get better research on it and see what the options are. But I'm all about advocating for what works best as a government entity and taking care of the people.
What does government do well?
Yes.
And what do private groups do well?
Yes, yes. And I want people to know how I think. And I guess a good example I like to use is I served on the Kaysville City Council for 4 years, back in 2014 to 2018. And when I was serving on the council, Kaysville City has their own electric grid, their own power company, and they're part of UAMPS. And so being a part of UAMPS, when I was elected, I knew there were problems on the east side of Kaysville with the older infrastructure of the electric company. So I asked to take that on. And through my training, I found out there were numerous issues that were going on. And my way of forging forward and taking care of the problem was to get the smartest and the best people in the room. We didn't have a power commission at the time, so I asked if we could form one, and I actually ended up serving on that power commission for 3 years. And with the help of some extremely smart people, we were able to fix the problems and take care of the issues with the reserve fund, which was way underfunded, and do it all without raising any of the rates. We did not raise rates when we did it. And so I never look at the solution to any of the problems as more money. More money, please.
Right.
No, that is not the way I look at it. I look at it, we can fix this and let's find the best way with least amount of cost.
So you've got 3 commissioners, right? And which seat are you running for?
B.
Seat B.
Yes, so seat A is the 3 that are running for that would be Scott Fletcher, John Adams, and Kendall and Harris. And then for seat B is myself.
And that's the seat that...
Kamalu.
Okay.
Yes. Lorene Kamalu currently holds, and I am running against her. She's running for re-election.
Okay.
And then seat C is actually being held by John Crofts currently.
Who isn't running?
Who is not up for election, but he is endorsing me. I am endorsed by John Crofts.
Oh, very cool.
Yes.
Yeah, so what would you say are the most important issues?
I would say the amount of money that, because the biggest, I guess, job, or that as far as the commissioners are doing, is they're the keepers of the purse strings.
Right.
We are the
So
ones.
the taxes.
Yes.
Right.
So we get to decide how those monies are spent. Like, let's take, for example, the sheriff's department. the sheriff is in charge of the sheriff's department. We have no say how that sheriff's department is ran.
Right.
But what we do have say over
It's
them
history.
is how much money they get.
Right.
And that's the same with all the departments within the county. And so we have to look at those departments if there's problems, like if they're running over budget and there's a problem that way, work with them, get them to find out what their problems are with the spending, and hopefully get them in check. And if we continue to have problems, it is our responsibility to pull the purse strings back and say, you need to get it fixed one way or another so that we can loosen those purse strings and give you that money that you need. And without declining in any services, of course.
Right.
You know, the services, I would say, for the most part, the county does a really good job in the services that it provides. And, you know, as long as we continue down that road, we're in good shape. We're in
Right.
very good shape. But we just need to make sure that we take care of the money that, especially that we don't overspend.
Right.
And, you know, there's some other things that they've cut that, quite frankly, I was surprised to hear that the county was doing. Like, they offered, after you retired, 5 years of health benefits from the county after you retire. I don't know pretty much anywhere in the private sector you
Where
get
they do
kind of
that.
benefit. So that is one place where they're going to phase that out so that they no longer, and that will be a $24 million savings on the budget by doing that.
Right.
So if anything, with this overspending that's occurred, it's brought to the forefront many of the areas that can and should have been looked at years ago. Another thing, there needs to be some kind of a service solvency test done within the county. We need to see if there's duplication of services that are being provided, or if there's employees that are doing things that no longer are required. You know, things change. Are we still in that same mold
Right.
of doing something that no longer really needs to be done? So I would actually spearhead getting that done if elected, to make sure that we, you know, maybe that's where cost savings can happen as well.
Right. But you need to look at those things.
Yes, definitely. In fact, I would say they need to be looked at on a regular basis, but as far as I know, they haven't been done, at least for some time.
Right.
And so, but yeah, I do spend a lot of time talking to the controller, wanting to get up to speed, understand the budget. Anything I say, I want to say with fact.
Right.
I don't want to make up numbers. I don't want to guess. And if I don't know, I find out.
Right.
So.
Well, we're out of time.
Yeah.
But I want you to make a pitch.
Sure.
Yeah. So tell voters why they should vote for you.
Yeah. So as far as the reason I'm running is I feel like we need leadership that listens. And as a representative, I want to be that leader. I want to be able to talk to the people, find out the concerns, and I want to take care of those tax dollars, those precious dollars. I don't want to take them lightly. And I want to make sure that you are represented. And so that is why I'm running. And I thank you for your vote.
Thank you. Susan Lee, great to have you on. Thank you.
Thanks.
We'll see you guys next week.